Welcome to the fourth and final lecture of steady state AC circuits. In this lecture, we are going to cover the parallel resonance and its different cases. And one of the cases is called a tank circuit. So we are going to study about them in detail in this lecture. So earlier in the series resonance case, we saw that resistance, inductance, and capacitances were in series. But here we are going to find parallel combination of these elements. And so we are going to see in what condition we are going to attain resonance in such circuits. So for any circuit, one universal condition for the circuit to be in resonance is that the phase difference between the source voltage and current coming out of from this source should be in the same phase, which means the circuit to which your source voltage or source current is supplying your voltage or current, it should behave as a purely resistive circuit, because in the resistive circuit the voltage and current are in the same phase. So in this parallel case, actually we are going to study about three cases in parallel resonance, and this is the first case where simple R, L and C are in parallel and in three branches, right? So can you tell me how can I make the phasor diagram for this particular circuit of current? Uh, if you see with respect to this voltage V, let me call this voltage V. What will be the phase of I1, the current which is entering the resistor with respect to this voltage V? Definitely it is going to be in the same phase as V, because obviously the current across resistor is going to be in the same phase as the voltage across this resistor, which is V. So V and I1 are going to be in the same phase. So now the same V is applied across this inductor. So can you tell me the current across inductor, in what phase will it be? You already know that in an inductive circuit, the current lags the voltage applied to it. And since it is an inductor, the current which is flowing should be in the 90-degree phase, uh, uh, lagging with respect to the voltage. So definitely the current in the inductor, which is basically your I2 current, should be in this direction. And similarly, the current in the capacitor should be leading and it should be in this direction. So what is the value of your final current I? Definitely it should be the difference between, definitely it should be the phasor combination of the current I1 and the difference between I3 and I2, right? So if you want your circuit to be in resonance, definitely you want your I current to be in phase with V, which means you want your I to be in the same direction as I1. You want it to be in this direction. So what should have to be happen? This I3 component must be cancelling out this I2 component, right? So in order to get a resonance in this particular case of the parallel circuit, your I3 should be equal to I2. Clear? So in that case, your final current I will be equal to basically I1, right? So this will ensure that voltage and I are in same phase. Now, if you write the KCL equation at this point A, what you will find is I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. And what is I? It is basically V divided by, let's the whole impedance is Z. If we see from here, from source, the whole impedance of the circuit is, let's assume it is Z. So you can write I as V by Z is equal to V upon R plus V upon XL plus V upon XC. I'm not including this J or minus J here. It will be understood. So we are just going by XL and XC. And XL and XC are inductive and capacitive reactances respectively. So You can see that V can be cancelled out from both the sides. And also in the case of resonance, these component would have to become zero. So we will see it later. I will write 1 by Z as Y, which is admittance. The reverse of inductance, impedance is admittance. 1 by R, which is the reciprocal of resistance, we can call it as conductance, G, plus I already told you that let me add J here and minus J here. So if you take the reverse of this thing, this J, when it goes to numerator, it will become minus J, and minus J becomes plus J. So you can write, you either, or you can take J as common, and you can write at 1 by XC minus 1 by XL, right? And I already told you in the previous sections that you can call 1 by XC as BC and 1 by XL as BL. So these are called G plus J, BC minus BL. So this BC and BL are called susceptances, the capacitive susceptance and inductive susceptance. So since you know that the combination of these two current during resonance should be equal to zero, because you want your current to be only resistive, which means this whole component should be zero, or you can say that this whole component should be equal to zero, which means BC should be equal to BL, right? Now, in the same way as you draw the phasor for your current, in the same direction, you are going to have the phasor of susceptance also. Why? Because current is basically the multiplication of voltage and susceptance. So this I3 can be represented as multiplication of voltage into BC, and this I2 can be represented as the multiplication of V into BL, right? If you talk about the magnitude. So either this can be I2 or BL will have the same phasor, and even I3 and BC will have the same phasor direction, right? So during the resonance, this BC should be equal to BL, and you know BC is nothing but 1 upon XC, which should be equal to 1 upon XL. Now, you know that XC is equal to 1 upon omega C if we talk about the magnitude, and XL is equal to omega L, right? So let us put this here. So we will get omega C is equal to 1 upon omega L. And if we solve this equation, what we will get is, let me call this omega naught, because we have already assumed it is resonance condition. So we will get omega naught as 1 upon under root LC. This is the same value as the serial RLC resonance case, right? So if we want to represent it in the basic frequency term, it will be 1 upon 2 pi into 1 upon under root LC. And this will be in hertz, and this is in radian per second, right? Now, since we already know that Y is equal to G plus J into BC minus BL, and if we don't have resonance condition, this Y is going to be equal to under root of G square plus BC minus BL ka whole square, right? So at resonance, what will happen is this whole thing is going to be zero. So your Y will become equal to G. And can you tell me, this one is higher or this one is higher? Definitely this is lower than the previous case. So at resonance, we are actually getting minimum value of Y, right? So since you know that Y is nothing but 1 by Z, so at resonance, what is going to happen? Are you going to minimum Z or maximum Z? Definitely you are going to have a Z maximum. Now, in the previous circuit, if you see here, this was your Z and this was your current I. Let me change the color so that I can show you clearly. So this was your Z, the input impedance, and this was your current I and the voltage V that you applied. So you can say that I is equal to V divided by Z, and at resonance you are going to get Z as Z maximum. So what will happen to I? Will it be minimum or maximum? Definitely it will be minimum. So as opposed to the series resonance case where during resonance, our current was getting maximum, here just opposite is happening. Our current is getting minimum. So at resonance, in parallel cases, I becomes I minimum, and it is equal to the value of current flowing in the resistor, right? Now, one more thing I want to add is that in this particular circuit, the combination of R, L, and C, this is I1, this is I2, and this is I3. So similar to the voltage magnification phenomena that was happening in series resonance circuit, there is a current magnification phenomena that happens in parallel resonance circuit. So the value of currents in the inductor and capacitor, which are I2 and I3, is going to be higher than the value of current in the resistor I1, or this is basically equal to the total current I in the circuit. So this phenomena is called current magnification, right? Also, since you can see that everything which is happening in this parallel resonance condition is opposite to the whatever was happening in the series resonance, because in the series resonance case, impedance was getting minimum and current was getting maximum. But here in this case, impedance is getting maximum and current is getting minimum. So this particular combination or this particular type of resonant circuits are also called anti-resonant circuit. Clear? Now, this is the case 2 circuit for parallel resonance. And if we want to apply KCL at this point, we can write it as I is equal to I1 plus I2. Here, I1 is in the first branch and I2 is in the second branch. So, if we represent it in the form of voltages and impedances, we can write it as V upon Z. Let me call this whole impedance from here as Z. Will be equal to V upon the combination of R1 and L. So we can call it as R plus J XL plus the second one will be V upon R minus J XC. So the V can be cancelled out from all the places. 1 by Z I am calling it as Y. So we can write this same equation as Y is equal to 1 upon R plus JXL plus 1 upon R minus JXC. Now, to make this thing look easier to solve, let us multiply the complex conjugate of these denominator values in the numerator and denominator as well. So we will get is R minus JXL upon R square plus XL square. If you don't know how this came, you just revise your mathematics. And the other one will be R plus JXC divided by R square plus XC square. So remember, this is XL and this is XC, right? So let us, this is basically your Y. So let us divide this equation into imaginary and real parts. So what we will get is, we will get so we can write our equation in this term. I actually did a small mistake. I did not write this R as R1 and R2. So this one will be R2 and this one will be R1. So just replace everywhere. For the first branch, it will be R1, and for the second branch, it is R2, like as shown in this figure. So I have improved it. Uh, So here you will get the value of your uh, admittance, right? So this is the real part and this is your imaginary part. So like in the previous case, in the first case, as you saw, for your current this one and for your voltage V to be in the same phase, your impedance or its reverse admittance should be purely resistive. Like there should not be any imaginary component, whether it is Y or whether it is Z, right? So what will have to be for your circuit to be in resonance, this whole component should be equal to 0. So let us put the values of XC and XL in this particular equation and equate it to 0 to find the condition for our resonant frequency. So here I have written that this particular thing. So you put XC is 1 upon omega C and XL as, this is XL as omega L in this particular equation and solve it for omega. So I'm just going to write the value and let me call it omega naught because we are talking about resonant frequency. So if we solve, we are going to get the value of omega naught as 1 upon under root LC. It is a homework. You just go and try to solve this particular equation. You will get the same equation as I'm writing. So it will be 1 upon under root LC R1 square minus L by C upon R2 square minus L by C. So this is the equation of your resonant frequency in radian per second. So if you want to write it in the terms of F naught, you just have to multiply by 1 upon 2 pi, 1 upon under root LC, under root So this equation is very handy. If you learn it, if you see a numerical question like this in a competitive exam, you can directly put the values and find the value of resonant frequency. Now let's move to the third case of series parallel resonance. As you can see, we have two parallel branches. One branch is having an inductor in series with resistance, and other one is having a pure capacitor. So this circuit is also called tank circuit, or rather practical tank circuit. In the pure tank circuit, you are not going to have this R value. So this is a practical tank circuit. And same as in the previous cases, we are going to write KCL at point A. So what we will get is I is equal to I1 plus I2. So let me write it in the form of this. Z is basically the whole equivalent impedance of the circuit is equal to, I have called this combination of RL and as Z1. So we can write it as V upon Z1 plus I2 will be definitely V upon minus JXC, right? So we can cancel out V from all the sides and we get 1 by Z. I am writing it as Y. And what is the value of Z1? Can you tell? It is a series combination of R and L. So you can write it as 1 upon R plus JXL. And if this minus J term goes in the denominator, it will become plus J. So it will become plus J upon XC, right? So let me multiply this denominator, complex conjugate of this denominator in the numerator and denominator to get a simpler equation. So what I will get is R minus JXL upon R square plus XL square plus J upon XC. So if I segregate the real and imaginary terms, I am going to get Y is equal to R upon R square plus XL square plus J has been taken common 1 upon XC minus XL upon R square plus XL square. So from the previous definitions, we know that the Y or Z should be purely real so that the phase of voltage and current are same. They are not in different phases, and which is the basic condition for the resonance. So the imaginary part, like which is in this case is this, should be equal to 0. So what we will do is we will put the value of XL and XC in this equation and try to find what is the resonant frequency. So we have 1 upon XC minus XL upon R square plus XL square is equal to 0. We know that XC is 1 upon omega C and XL is equal to omega L. So what you do is you just put them here and solve it. So I'm just calling this omega as omega naught in the case of resonance frequency. So what I will directly get is omega naught is equal to under root 1 upon LC minus R square upon L square. So this will be in radian per second, and if you want F naught, it will simply be 1 upon 2 pi under root 1 upon LC minus R square upon L square. So this is going to be your resonant frequency in the case of this case 3 circuit, which is also called tank circuit or practical tank circuit. Now we are going to calculate a few more things like the value of Z1 and Z, this one, the value of Z1 and Z in the condition of resonance to make our future calculation about this circuit easy, because this circuit is very important and it has a lot of practical application in real life. So this is your practical tank circuit, and if we talk about the magnitude of Z1, it will have a value of obviously R square plus XL square, right? So you know what XL is? XL is omega L, and in the case of resonance, it is going to be omega naught L. And you already calculated the value of omega naught in the previous slides. So if I put the value of omega naught here, so what I will get is Z1 is equal to under root R square plus omega naught L ka whole square. So Z1 is going to be equal to R square plus L square multiplied by what was the value of omega naught? This, right? So I can take it a square and put it here. So I will get 1 upon LC minus R square upon L square. So from here, if you take this L square inside, you will get under root R square plus L by C minus R square. So this R square and R square will be cancelled out, and from here you will get Z1 as under root L by C. So this is very important. In the tank circuit at resonance, the value of Z1 or this first branch impedance is going to be L by C ohms. Okay. Now let us calculate the value of Z. So at resonance, we saw that this imaginary component was cancelled out, and the value of overall admittance at resonance was R upon R square plus XL square. So Y at resonance was R upon R square plus XL square. So what will be the value of overall Z? It will be reciprocal of Y, which is R square plus XL square divided by R. So we can write it as R plus XL divided by R, XL square by R. Now we know that XL is nothing but omega naught L squared divided by R. So what we have to do is we have just to put the value of omega naught here and try to calculate. So let us do it. R plus what is the value of omega naught squared? You already know it is 1 upon LC minus R square by L square. So it is 1 upon LC minus R square upon L square multiplied by definitely L square and divided by R. So if you take this L square inside, what you are going to get is R plus L by C minus R square divided by R. So if you divide this R from here, this thing is going to be cancelled out and this R will go in the denominator here. So you will get R plus L by CR minus R. So this minus R and plus R will be cancelled out. And finally, you will get the value of Z as L upon RC. So this is a very important outcome. So for a tank circuit, for a real tank circuit, the value of Z1 you find out to be under root L by C, and the value of Z you find out to be L upon RC. So these are the two values you should be remembering. And let us also consider the case of ideal tank circuit. So in ideal tank circuit, what you are going to find is there will be no resistance. There will only be one inductor and one capacitor in parallel, like this, C and L. So the value of R is going to be 0. So if you put this value of R as 0, what will happen to the value of impedance? Tell me, at resonance, you got the value of Z and Z1 for an real tank circuit as this. And if you put the value of R as 0 to make the tank circuit as ideal, what will be the value of Z at resonance? Definitely Z is going to be L upon 0 into C, which means infinity. So this is very important that an ideal tank circuit works as open circuit at resonance. Clear? And also, if you put the value of R as 0 in the resonant frequency formula, what you are going to get as omega naught is equal to 1 upon under root LC. So the R term will be cancelled out and you will get, for an ideal tank circuit, your omega naught as 1 upon under root LC radian per second. So remember these things, it may come in many exams. Now, if we talk about the quality factor, in the series resonance case, our quality factor was basically VL or VC divided by VR, which was basically equal to the source voltage V. So what was this VL and VC? It was the reactive component of the voltages with respect to the active component of voltage. The ratio of these two was the quality factor. But since in our parallel case, we focus on currents and not on the voltages, in the case of uh, parallel resonance, the formula, the universal formula for quality factor will be the reactive component of current will be the ratio of reactive component of current divided by active component of current. Right? So this is going to be your universal formula for calculating quality factor. And this was basically for series resonance. So in our first case circuit, which was this R, L and C, this was, let me call it as IL, this is IC, and this is IR. And the total current which was entering this circuit, let me call it as I, and this is V. So for this particular case 1 circuit, the value of our quality factor Q will be reactive component of I. So either we can take IL or IC. IL or IC divided by the active component, and which is the active component? It is basically R, and at resonance this IR is equal to total current I. Clear? So let me take one, Q is equal to IL upon IR. So what is the value of IL? From this circuit, you can say that IL is V divided by XL. So we can write it as V upon XL divided by what is IR? V divided by R. So what is the value? V can be cancelled out. And what is the value of XL? Omega L or omega naught L. So we can write it as 1 upon omega L divided by 1 upon R. So our quality factor will come out to be R upon omega L. Or if we take the capacitive case, capacitor current case, quality factor can also be written as IC upon IR, which will equal to V upon XC upon V upon R. V will get cancelled and XC is actually 1 upon omega C. So we will get as omega CR. So either Q can be R by omega L or Q can be omega CR. In the case of parallel resonance series 1 circuit, no, sorry, case 1 circuit. Remember this quality factor is only for the case 1 circuit, which is this. For other cases, it is going to be different because your reactive component of current is going to be different. Now again, let us either I can take this or this, anyone will give the same result. Let us put the value of omega naught as 1 upon under root LC for case 1 circuit. Remember our resonant frequency came out to be 1 upon under root LC. So let us put this here. So what we will get is Q is equal to 1 upon under root LC into CR. So from here we will get as Q is equal to R under root C upon L. So this is the exact reciprocal of the series resonance case, right? Now, in the case of tank circuit, as we did already in the previous slides, that for the circuit to be in resonance, the reactive components of the currents should cancel each other out. So as you can see, this can be your I2 with respect to IR, which is going to be I in the case of resonance. So this I2 component should be cancelling out which current? Definitely the reactive component of I1 current. So let me call it as I1 reactive. So this component should be cancelling out this component. So whatever we will be left with is the, this is not IR, sorry. This is the active component of I1, which is going to be equal to I. So in the case of tank circuit. So using the definition of quality factor Q, which is the ratio of reactive component of current divided by the active component of current. So either we can write it as I2 divided by I, or we can also write it as reactive component of I1 divided by I. Clear? So what is the value of I2? Since this is going to be a little more complex calculation, we will be calculating Q for using this formula. So what is the I2? Value of I2? It is definitely V upon XC divided by what is the value of I? It is basically V divided by Z, because Z was your total impedance of the circuit. So can you tell me what is the value of XC? It is definitely 1 upon omega naught C. And what is the value of Z? In the case of tank circuit, at resonance, we calculated the value of Z. And what was it? What was the value of Z? This was L upon RC. In this slide, we can see that it was L upon RC. So we will replace this Z as L upon RC, and let's put these things into this equation. So we will get cancelled out, and we will get Q is equal to 1 upon omega C or omega naught C divided by L upon RC. So we are going to get Q as, I think C will be cancelled out. and we will get, sorry, I did a little mistake. This was V divided by 1 by omega C, and this was V divided by L by RC. Since it is V by Z and V by XC, right? So after solving and calculating, we will get omega L divided by R. Omega or omega naught, you can write anything as you wish. So we are going to get Q as omega naught L by R, which can also be written as XL divided by R. So XL was basically the reactance of this inductor. So for a tank circuit, or rather a real tank circuit, our quality factor is going to be this omega L by R or XL by R. So for the quality factor to be more than 1, if you want your quality factor to be more than 1, you have to get your XL value greater than R in the tank circuit. Now in the series resonance case, remember the bandwidth curve that we draw, it was between frequency and current I, and the graph that you saw was like this. Huh? So at resonant frequency, exactly at F naught, the current became maximum. This was the case of series resonance. And at the values I max by root 2, we had got two frequencies, which were F1 and F2, and the range of these frequencies was called bandwidth. So bandwidth was F2 minus F1. Now you can see that in the series resonance case, the current goes to maximum at resonance. What will happen in the case of parallel resonance case? So I hope you can guess now that in parallel resonance case, the exactly opposite is going to happen, and current will decrease to a minimum value. So here I call it as I minimum, and there will be a value of current which is under root 2 times, just the reciprocal of this, under root 2 times I minimum, and the points where it will cut, let me call it as F1 and F2, and the point at which the current was minimum, let me call it as F0. So this particular range of frequencies is called bandwidth in the case of parallel resonance case. So this is your parallel resonance case. So when the current was getting minimum, what was happening to the impedance? The impedance was getting maximum in parallel resonance. So either you can draw this curve, or you can also draw this curve, frequency versus the impedance, and it will be similar to the current curve of series resonance. It will be your impedance curve, and your impedance at resonance in a parallel resonant circuit will go to maximum. Let me call it Z max, and there will be values of Z max divided by under root 2, where your maximum value of impedance will decrease to 70.7% of the maximum value. Let me call it F1 and F2. And this is the maximum value. It is your F0. And similarly, this range of frequencies is called bandwidth of the parallel resonant circuit. So this is how you calculate the bandwidth of a parallel resonance circuit. Now, coming back to the differential equations, in the series resonance case, we calculated the differential equation, or we wrote the differential equation using the KCL equations of voltages. Here we are going to write KVL equations at particular node A, and using current equations, right? So can you tell me what is the value of I? It is basically the summation of I1 plus I2 plus I3. So let me write it in reverse. What is the value of I1? It is basically V upon R, plus what is the value of I2? It is what is the value of current in an inductor if a voltage V is applied across it? It is definitely 1 by L integration of V dt, as we have discussed in our network theory basic lectures. And then what is the value of current through a capacitor? It is C dV by dt and equal to I, the total current I. So let us differentiate this whole equation with respect to t. So what we will get is, we will get, and also let us divide by C on both the sides, capacitor value on both the sides. So what we will get is, we will get d2v upon dt2 plus 1 upon RC dv by dt plus 1 upon LC, actually V upon LC is equal to I dash upon C. So this is the equation you get. And here this I term or I dash term has arrived because you have put a source in this circuit. So in a source free circuit where you are not considering a source, this can be put 0. So for our source free calculation, let us do the source free calculation. The same equation will look like d2v upon dt2 plus 1 by RC dv by dt plus 1 by LC, uh, V by LC is equal to 0. So this is source free reaction. And why do we do source free reaction? We want to check if some of the element like inductor or capacitor is charged, and the circuit is left to response. How will the current or voltage will fluctuate inside the circuit and then die down slowly? So uh, for that to for us to see that thing, we have to remove our source and see the response of circuit by its own. So that is called a source free analysis. So here in this differential equation, I have removed the source. So we will get equation like this. So similar to the previous case, let me call d dt as capital D, and I will take V out. So we will get d square plus 1 by RC into d plus 1 by LC whole common V is equal to 0. So now we have a differential equation of second order, and you know how to calculate it and how to calculate its roots. We have already done all the analysis in the previous case. So let me write a standard equation, which is s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square is equal to 0. And if you compare these two equations, what you will get is, you will get 2 zeta omega n as 1 upon RC. Remember, the term which was the coefficient of this d term or d dt term was basically the bandwidth of the particular circuit. So in this case, this 1 by RC term is going to be your bandwidth. So let me write it here. So bandwidth of a parallel RLC circuit case 1 is 1 upon RC. Remember this. This is in basically radian per second. So moving again from seeing this and this, obviously our natural frequency omega n is going to be 1 upon under root LC. And if you put this omega n here, you will get your zeta to be 1 upon 2r under root L by C. So remember, you already calculated your value of Q for case 1 RLC circuit, and it came out to be R under root C by L. So what kind of relationship you find between this and this? Definitely you will see that zeta is nothing but equal to 1 upon 2Q. So this damping ratio zeta is always related to the quality factor as zeta is equal to 1 upon 2Q or Q is equal to 1 upon zeta. Clear? Now let us do some examples. And in the first example here, you can see this circuit of a parallel and series combination of resistor and inductor capacitors. Here you have to find the resonant frequency of this circuit. So as I already told you that the basic phenomena in all kind of circuits, whether it is series or it is parallel, the basic thing that you have to make sure to happen is that the current that is entering that particular circuit and the voltage applied across it should have the same phase, which means the source voltage and the source current which is entering the circuit must have the same phase. And for that to happen, the input impedance or Z equivalent, I am telling it, it must have only real parts. So either it is Z or it is Y equivalent, the both should be completely real, right? So in this particular circuit, let us try to find that the imaginary part, and if we can equate it to zero, then we can find a condition to find the resonant frequency. So let me call this as Z1, let me call this as Z2, and this is basically R. So for now, I will just ignore it and I'm only going for this circuit because this is resistor and it is in series combination of with this one. So it is not going to make any effect, or it is not going to be of any help in calculating the resonant frequency. So all the imaginary component we are going to get is we are going to get from this particular part. So sorry, I mistakenly. Okay. So what is the value of Z1? Z1 is your one is inductor and another one is capacitor, right? So Z1 is XL, or rather I can say it JXL minus JXC. So XL is omega L, and you already know that L is 4, so you will get 4 omega. And XC, since both these capacitors are of same value, I am calling them both as XC. So it is 1 upon omega C, which is equal to 1 by omega, right? So I'm going to put these two things in our calculations. So here I can directly write it as J 4 omega minus J upon omega. This is our Z1, right? Now, what is the value of Z2? Z2 is nothing but minus J upon XC, which is equal to minus J upon omega. Now, what will be the equivalent of this Z2 and Z1? You can clearly see that between these two terminals, these are in parallel, Z1 and Z2. So let me call it as the combination of Z1 and Z2 as Z equivalent dash. So Z equivalent dash will be equal to parallel combination of Z1 and Z2, which is Z1 into Z2 upon Z1 plus Z2. So we can directly write it as J 4 omega minus 1 by omega into minus J upon omega divided by J 4 omega minus 1 by omega minus J upon omega. So this is your Z equivalent dash. So further, if we calculate Z equivalent dash, we will get 4 omega minus 1 by omega, since J and J will multiply and cancel out and become minus 1, and this will become 1 by omega divided by J 4 omega minus 1 by omega minus J upon omega. So here you can see that your complex term is in denominator. So what you want to do is you would like to put this J into the nominator. So what you will do is you will just multiply J in both in numerator and denominator. So from this one, we will basically get J into 4 omega minus 1 by omega into 1 by omega divided by this will be 1 by omega minus 4 omega minus 1 by omega. So this is all real part, and this is your, the nominator now has become completely imaginary. So this is your Z equivalent. And what is the value of final Z? It is going to be the summation of this 5 volt and Z equivalent, right? Summation of 5 ohm and Z equivalent. So Z is going to be 5 plus Z equivalent dash. So basically 5 is already real, so we don't need to look at it. So we will only be looking at Z equivalent and try to equate its imaginary part equal to 0. So here we can see that the whole Z equivalent is imaginary since nominator has a J component multiplied in it. And if we want to make it 0, we can equate this component to 0. So if this component is 0, this whole Z eq dash will be 0. So from here we see that 4 omega minus 1 by omega, if we equate it to 0, we will get 4 omega is equal to 1 by omega, which means omega is equal to 1 by 4, sorry, omega is 1 by 4 under root, which is 1 by 2 radian per second. So this is how we get our answer. The idea is to uh, find the imaginary component of whether it is impedance or admittance and then equate it to 0. And when we will be equating the imaginary component of Z or Y equal to 0 for any circuit, we will find the condition for resonant frequency. So this is how you are going to solve all the questions in future. Now I am going to give you one example for your homework. You calculate resonant frequency for this particular circuit. And the answer is omega naught is equal to 3 radian per second. So you calculate and try to find if your answer matches with this one or not. Now in this last example, I want you to calculate the value of voltage output VO across resistor in resonance condition. And you can see that there is this particular circuit in series with R. Can you find? I'm just giving you a few seconds to think. If you can see closely what this circuit reminds you. Is this a ideal tank circuit? It is an ideal tank circuit, right? So this is your tank circuit. This is your R, L, and C. So in the tank circuit, in the case of resonance, what was the value of your impedance? So if these are the 2 points across this circuit and the input impedance, I'm calling it as Z. So what was the Z you calculated for a practical tank circuit? Tell me. It was L upon RC. So in the case of ideal tank circuit, this R becomes 0 because here you can see that there is no R. So what will happen? Z will become infinity. And if the impedance of a circuit is infinity, it means the circuit is open circuit. So in this above circuit, in the resonance condition, you are going to have the circuit like this. This whole tank circuit will be open, and this is your Vs, this is your R. Now, can you tell me what is going to be your output voltage? Definitely, since the circuit is already broken, there is no Vs going to R and your VO is going to be 0. So answer is VO is equal to 0.